It's October, so that means it's Halloween. And I don't know about you, when I think of October, when I think of Halloween, I think of witches. So I decided I wanted to draw some witches. The first thing I was thinking about is like, okay, what kind of witches do I want to draw? Do I want to draw my version of a witch, of what a witch is? Or do I want to draw, the generic witch? And I'm gonna do my own thing, but I'm gonna take inspiration from what a witch is supposed to look like. First thing I did was went to Google, did a Google search for witches, and surprisingly, I came up short. There wasn't much references, at least not anything that I could use. I decided, screw it. Did a thumbnail. Actually, no, I didn't do a thumbnail. I started a piece, started drawing, and didn't like was going, so I decided, all right, instead of throwing that out, I'll shrink it down, turn it into a thumbnail, see what worked and what didn't work. Surprisingly, that actually worked really well. The one I took and turned into a thumbnail, I just did another one from the original that I drew and turned that into a thumbnail. I did a one from that, and that turned out really well. I didn't have to do more than one take. I have issues with it, but like anything else, perfection doesn't exist, so you just gotta put it out and move on. So these are the thumbnails. These are what I came up with, and the second one, the first one, I did some modification to it after that, and it came out, again, I liked it. I like it as well. So maybe I'll do another version of that. This one I really like, for the most part anyways. I think I got the clouds right. The bird gives a little bit of spookiness, some deep blues and some purples. Kind of gave it that witch vibe. It's looking a little too big. From there, I took it, extended it out. Don't love the moon. For whatever reason, just could not get the moon right. But yeah. For the most part, I like the clouds and just the overall atmosphere of how it came out. So this is the thumbnail I came up with, and then from there I just took it, blew it up, and then started to paint over it because it was pretty much what I wanted. And from there I just refined it, added in the face, a bit of glowy eyes, and then but from there I was looking at it and I was like, all right, it's a little too big. The witch is too much in your face. I wanted to have the kind of feeling like you were stumbling upon the witch conjuring a spell. So took it, extended it a little bit bigger, and gave it kind of that almost top-down perspective. It doesn't change it that much, but just enough that it gives you a slightly different vibe than what it was before. Instead of having the moon cut off, you have the full moon. And then I also wanted to just add a little something playful in the background, and that's where you came up with that little witch, and from there. But for the most part, that's what it was. It was a little something that I wanted to do for Halloween. It's supposed to be a little bit sketchy. I didn't want it to be too polished. I certainly didn't want it to be pretty. The witch was supposed to be, a witch isn't really supposed to be attractive. You can get some boobies out, but it's not supposed to be attractive. However, I did run into some problems with the face. For whatever reason, whatever face I was coming up with just wasn't working. I just didn't like it. And I didn't want to go through and get more references. I didn't want to do all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to, I loved the overall silhouette and everything that was going on with it, and I did not want to, redraw a face. So I was just like, all right, screw it. I got like an image of I think like a skull. Either a deer or some kind of horned animal skull. I was bleached white, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'll take this and make something quick out of it. I don't know if it worked. I honestly don't know if it worked, but it was like at that point I was just like, all right, I love everything else about it. This isn't particularly my favorite, but I think it might work, or so it's good enough. And it's just like one of those things where it's like you could sit there and you could agonize over every detail and try to correct this and go back and forth and then eventually either produce something that's not really better or even sometimes worse. Like you can mess with things so much that it goes the other way. Instead of it gets better, it gets worse. So I was just like one of those things where it's just like, all right, I think it's good enough. It's good enough. I gotta put it out. So I went with that, and it's like, I don't know, maybe it feeds into the spookiness. Maybe it looks out of place. Maybe it just doesn't work at all. But like, I think enough of it works for it to justify me, putting this out, right? And not just be one of the countless pieces of art that I've made that are just tossed to the side. I think this is definitely good enough to put out, and it's my take on a witch. Although I don't quite know what she's conjuring, but whatever she's conjuring, it's there. That's my contribution to the month of October. That is my version of what a witch is. And yeah, happy Halloween.